Yo, what's going on, everybody? Keep Rumbles in full color. Now, for those who are just joining us, this week now that E3 is settled, we're talking about the big three, and today is all about Nintendo. If you're interested in Microsoft, be sure to check out the last video for that. But in the words of Judge Joe Mills Lane, let's get it on. Nintendo has a pretty interesting history, so bear with me as I go through it, because it gets wild. Now, Nintendo originally was a card company. That's right, they were a card company that started in 1889. Later on, after time would go on, they delved into toys. Bandai pretty much had a grapple hold on toys, so they struggled quite a bit. It was one day that the boss of Nintendo at this time saw one of his employees build an electronic hand. Once he saw this, he had to have them implement this into the toys that they were selling. They implemented, these toys began to sell very, very well. No toys on the market had any format of electronics or some format of interactiveness with them, if you will. They were going to make many toys, from the 10 billion barrel to a love tester. However, the most important thing that was made at this point in time was the Nintendo Beam Gun game. This was very important because they would ink a deal with Magnavox Odyssey. This was an American-based console who would end up using this light gun in their console. Nintendo then will go on to distribute the Magnavox Odyssey. Of course, with the deal to make the light gun for them, they also used that bridge to get the rights to distribute that in Japan. At this point, home consoles, very, very rare. Atari Pong was available, but very, very rare. People really didn't have the money to have that type of stuff at that point in time. Mitsubishi would then come in, yes, Mitsubishi, would then come in and ask them if they wanted to go in to make the Color TV Game 6. I do not know what happened to 1 through 5, but whatever. This is a horrible name, by the way, Color TV Game 6. So this console would feature games such as like Radar Scope, Donkey Kong, old school Donkey Kong. From there, Nintendo would go on to create the Game & Watch system. Little handheld. It only had 2 buttons on it, right and left. You just kind of balance the ball between the right and left sides. Nothing much to it. They then went on to create something called the Advanced Video System. This was never released. Never. So you can find this in New York at the Nintendo store. But after that, they then decided, you know what, let's go for broke. And they decided to make a full-fledged system. This system was the Famicom. Now, the Famicom, similar to an NES, but came with a little issue. This little issue was a chip inside of the console that caused it to malfunction. They were enjoying the sales. They pushed about 500,000 units at a price point of $100. But after this malfunction was found, they had to recall all the units, losing about 500,000. At this point, an event would occur. Some people luck up. Some people call it perfect timing. Whatever you may want to say, in 1983, an event known as the video game crash occurred. With the onset of competitive personal computers that came into people's homes, you had the flooding of the console market, inflation, and also just loss of publishing control. This took out the Atari. Once the Atari was taken out by this event, Nintendo saw this as a way to get in that American market. They hadn't released a console in America, and this was the time to do so. They would spend 1985 testing out New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, just to see how the new NES that they improved upon the Famicom, got this new thing, the Nintendo Entertainment System. They didn't want people to know that the Famicom was their test, so they rebranded it as a Nintendo Entertainment System in just hopes that it would sell really well by the time people realized it was just an upgraded version of the Famicom, and it worked. They come out, at this point in 1985, Super Mario Brothers comes out. It kills over in Japan. In 86, they release this Nintendo over in America, and it sells like you wouldn't believe. But it also releases with games within this year. You had the first Metroid, Super Mario Brothers 2 came out. They already had 1. 2 has also come out at this point. And Legend of Zelda, which was critically acclaimed at this point in time. This was the reason to get a Nintendo. We said it last video, Roger said it before, software sells hardware, and the software that was coming with this machine was had to have. These were experiences that you just had to get. This would just put Nintendo, and then Nintendo would go on to do something that I think was the most genius play out of all of this. You had the video game Crash. They used this to weasel in. Now that they're in, they then begin to release Nintendo Power, the monthly news and strategy magazine. You guys know this. I'm sure you've seen it, but you saw it everywhere. Nintendo, Nintendo, Nintendo. You saw it everywhere. I mean, this is a crazy time in 1986. You have Janet Jackson, The Cure, Wham, New Kids on the Block putting out albums, and Nintendo is coming through making noise. Ridiculous. And we all would know what happens next. What happens next, I'll tell you. Super Nintendo comes out. Sega would stand up to Super Nintendo and get slapped down. Why? Super Mario World, Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, Street Fighter 2, Final Fantasy series, Killer Instinct will later come out. I mean, need I go on? Killed. Nintendo 64 will come out, critically acclaimed. Once again, we had tons of games. Pokemon Stadium. That's all. Oh, Super Smash Brothers, which I crush games at every time we play. I made him cry once, so he doesn't even want to play me no more. It's wild. You had the 007. 64 was another golden moment for Nintendo. Like, they just keep winning. Mario Party. Crazy. They then will come out with the DS and the Wii. We all know this era. The Wii U. We forget this era. And the Nintendo Switch, alright? So, we're all caught up to the now. We've gone over the history. We know where they're from. Some quick stats for all my people who love stats. These stats are as follows. The Nintendo... Okay, so I can only go back 3 generations, so that's what we're doing. So we'll go back to the Wii. Moved 101.6 million units. Amazing. The Wii U, 13.56. Not so amazing. The Switch is currently at 34.7. We're probably close to the 40 range. Okay, so we have the best-selling game for the Wii was Wii Sports, but that was bundled in with the Wii. 84 million units. You know I don't like counting bundles. The next game up, Mario Kart Wii at 37 million. The best-selling game for the Wii U is Mario Kart 8. 8.4 million. Now that's actually pretty impressive. You sold 13.56 million units and 8.4 grabbed the Mario Kart. That's crazy. For the Nintendo Switch, the current high seller is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Edition at 16.6 million units pushed. I think there's one thing that we all see. Mario Kart wins every time. Now, the one thing that we see is that their first-party title wins out every time. Like I said, the Nintendo at the onset came out and there was a must-have. You have all these first-party titles. You have... bear with me, y'all. We got Donkey Kong. We got Samus and Metroid. We got Star Fox and Star Fox. We got Pikachu and Pokemon. We got Super Mario and Super Mario. I don't know why I keep saying everybody's name twice. It's because I probably messed up the first time. We also got, did I say Metroid? Did I say Samus and Metroid? I think I already said that. Look, there are a lot out there. Honestly, there really are. Mario has his own slew, his own line. That's just that thing, okay? The Wii will come in with the Wii motion controller and just kill. So, where's the Nintendo company great at? Well, they're great with their first-party titles. There's a reason to have a Nintendo system. First-party titles, right? Where they're good at, now, they were okay. I mean, they're good and bad in this. They have so many great first-party titles that they don't really need third-party titles. And this is a good and bad. Their first-party titles do carry them over. However, they really don't have many third parties, so if you wanted to play Call of Duty, if you wanted to play a Madden, you would have to have gotten another console. But Mario, Donkey Kong, Star Fox, Captain Falcon, Super Smash Brothers, all these things, you had to have the Nintendo 4. You couldn't not have it, right? So your first party carried you. You just didn't have a lot for the consumer on the back end in terms of playing these other games that do come out. Where they are not good at is their online. Their online is probably the weakest of the big three. very clunky, hard to add friends, very, very unreliable in terms of connection and connectivity to the online service. That's just where they need to improve on to get better. Where I see them getting better from the future, from now, is improving upon that internet structure. And also, you see them doing it now, bringing over so many third-party titles to the Switch. Mortal Kombat's there. They've got the new Dragon Quest games are coming over to the Switch. Persona 5, they're bringing stuff over for that. They're starting to bring over a lot of third-party titles and giving the consumer more reasons to be in love with the Switch. Think about it. You could play Mortal Kombat on the go. Like, that's amazing. I really wish I could, you know what I'm saying, undock something from my PlayStation and go, wherever I'm going to and have a way to play games on the go. No one's offering it like Nintendo does. Things that they're great at. So, to recap, they're great with their first party titles. They are good in a sense that they're starting to bring over third party titles. They are terrible with their internet service right now. However, I do see them getting better. That's going to do it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. We talk about the next console, PlayStation. We talk about them next. If they're the best of the best. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. Be easy, be blessed out there. Peace.